Well, hello everybody. It's Anita Parker here, and I have a very special guest with me today, Dr. Brittany Schamerhorn, or Dr. Brittany.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you here. So we are here talking today about the Thrive Women's Health Summit. This is April the 12th at 50th Parallel Estate Winery in support of the Kelowna General Hospital Foundation. So Dr. Brittany is one of our speakers for the event. Super excited. She was actually the very first speaker we brought on board.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. We were out for coffee, and it was just this idea of like bringing information and knowledge and empowering the women in the community so that they could feel like they knew what they were doing or where they could go. And it just started as a coffee shop conversation, and here we are.
I love it. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to be sharing about in particular, because we have doctors from all different lines sharing about cardiac health, mental health, women's sexual health, and you are sharing on women's hormone health. So let's talk about that, because this is a massive hot topic. It is the reason for the inception of why I'm doing this health summit, because of my own journey. You've been so pivotal in helping me on my journey after thousands and thousands of dollars spent, going to see this person, that person. Let's talk about what you're going to be sharing with everyone.
So I'm going to kind of go through what I wish we had all learned in school, which we did not. We'll kind of go through the hormone journey of like what we can expect from your reproductive years and how that might change as we get older. And then I think if you can understand what is supposed to happen, it makes it a lot easier to understand what is happening. And then I'll make sure that everyone leaves understanding what to expect moving forward through the perimenopause transition and menopause, because that is the big hot topic right now for sure. And then what can you do to support yourself in that transition and what options you have? Because I think that's the biggest part is sometimes there's information out there about what's happening, but we don't know what to do about it, or we feel like there's only one offering, and what if we don't agree with that and that doesn't fit for us?
Absolutely. And I've been that person, and I don't have the resources and the knowledge you do. You're a doctor, so you know, hey, this will work, this probably won't work. For me, I was constantly going back and forth between, and I love my family doctor, but between my family doctor and then seeing a naturopath or seeing a hormone expert or seeing functional medicine. And it was like, where do I find the way?
Yeah.
And then I landed in your office.
Yeah. And I feel like that's not uncommon, where there's so many different, right? Or you follow this person, you hear this online, you follow this. And I view my role as not to make any decision for you, but I will give you all the options that you have, which should ideally kind of explain, like, why is your family doctor giving you this option? Why would someone give you this? And like, what does that mean for you? And then you get to decide what's best. And I think if you know what options you have, what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to, you can feel more confident in your decision moving forward.
And I think that's what really created that safe container when I came to see you, is that you actually bring everything together. And I love that, because it doesn't have to be Western against Eastern.
No.
You really brought that integration together and really gave me all the options, and like, here's a potential starting point. There's this, and you gave all of the resources that were available. And that was huge. I felt heard for the first time, because I didn't realize I was in perimenopause probably for like 7 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Thought I was dying like 3 or 4 years ago with heart palpitations, and then hearing everything looks great. Cardiologist is like, oh yeah, you're great. I'm like, but I'm not thinking I'm going to wake up the next morning because my heart is like racing and palpitating and all this stuff. Let's go back to, you said something really interesting, and I think of my daughter who's 20 now, and she probably had the very similar education as I had. And you're a mom of 2 girls.
Yeah.
So can we go back to what they should be teaching? Like, we obviously want people to come to the summit here, but can you just touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. I don't remember what I learned in high school, for better or worse. I don't remember learning anything. And so I feel like when I go over, I just did an event where we were kind of educating teens on what their hormone cycle should be. And a lot of times when I'm even speaking to perimenopause or menopausal women, we're talking about this is what's happening in the hormone cycle. And they're like, I had no idea what my estrogen did. I had no idea what my progesterone did. Yeah. And so then we blame it or we miss it or whatever. But I think it's just to understand how the hormones should be fluctuating through the cycle. What happens if you choose a birth control pill or you don't? Like, because it does just lead to that information, or for you to also understand what's happening in your own body. And how,
wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Wouldn't
and
that be
to know
great?
what is considered normal and what's not. And I really think, especially we are so good as women to dismiss our concerns and put it to the side. If you have painful periods, heavy periods especially, it's like, nope, everyone I know has heavy periods. We all bleed through, and that you don't have to live that life. And we get just told that is what it is, or your mom had it, your aunt had it, so it is what it is. And you never look to get support for it, where there's tons of options available for you. And so it's just to know, at what point do we ask for more support? And what does that support look like? And what options do you have there?
100%. I mean, all those things you said, that was me. I was like, oh, but well, my mom had it. Oh, and my aunt had it. And so now this is my turn to go, or pardon me, my turn to go through this turmoil of things, which I could have bypassed. So educating, there'll be moms in the rooms. There'll be so many different generations of women in the room. But if they could help educate even their granddaughters, and let's be honest, one of our other speakers in her household, she has educated her son and her daughter. And I'm just like, this is amazing. So he can understand.
And even if it doesn't apply to you, you can then set the expectations higher for everyone around you. And we just need to expect better, that like we can feel better. And so if someone is like, oh, I can't do XYZ, my cramps or my bleeding, etc., hey, do you know that you don't have to be that way? And it's also if we look at like endometriosis, PCOS, like these conditions are very common, but they're very underdiagnosed. And part of it is because women don't feel like they like get dismissed and they're not heard, but they don't know there's options out there for treatment.
And that's the other thing is that, and we'll be covering that as well, is like the whole being dismissed, or, it's, you're that time, it's part of the, you're going to feel
it's part of being a woman.
It's part of being a woman. You're going to this, you're going to that. And you're saying there are resources. So really putting all those resources to the forefront for women's health is what we are.
And how to advocate and ask for what you need. Because I think if you can, unfortunately, we do have to be strategic sometimes when we go into our family doctor, or if you don't have a family doctor, what resources can you use? And so being mindful of how you approach this conversation and knowing what you're asking for. And so sometimes, yes, you have to go and being like, hey, I think I might have this, or like, how can we support XYZ? And so just giving people the resources so they can know what to do for the next step.
Well, isn't that nice? Knowing that there's option for resources, not to live. And we're not, this isn't just for hormonal health. This is for all the topics we're covering. I'm so excited to, if you haven't gone to check out the lineup of speakers, the speakers
as
that
they
we
keep coming, I'm like, sweet, this is good.
This is good. Like, we are covering really important topics for us to, leaving equipped, but also being like, I'm not alone.
Yes.
And there's help out there.
Yeah. And I think that for me, I want women to come and leave feeling empowered and educated, and that they can do something about it. Right. And the last thing I wanted someone to feel like, hey, well, what now? Like, I know all these things, but all these things will connect, like your mental health and your hormone health and your bone health and your cardiovascular health. They all are connected. And the goal is that you leave knowing that you're not alone. You have this community, and you have like a first step of where you can go when you're ready to get that support that you want.
Absolutely. I love that you touched on all those things and how they're interconnected. And in my 26-year-long career as a dental hygienist, I remember always educating in oral health promotion, and your mouth is the portal to your whole body. So actually, we were looking to put like a dental office, like a speaker, either a dentist, hygienist, etc., in the lineup because how important your oral health is and how it's linked to major health ailments like heart disease, osteoporosis, diabetes, etc. The list goes on. And people having that awareness and realizing, like, don't skip flossing.
No.
It's not because of the cavities. The cavities is the least of your worry. Keeping your heart and lungs clean and healthy, and keeping that bacteria out of your body and preventing it from like eating away at the bone that's holding your teeth in. That's more important than
Totally. And it's that stepwise approach where I feel like when we get all this information from so many different areas, it can feel very overwhelming. But for many of my women, their weight is a concern, and they have weight management concerns as they're getting older. But then they're not sleeping because they have hot flashes, and then they're super stressed at work. And so they try to tackle all these things. I'm like, hey, let's go back. Let's get you sleeping through the night before we worry about your weight. Like, you sleep, then we can do this, then we can do this, then you can get there. But instead of trying to tackle everything at once, and that's very overwhelming. And if you're not sleeping, you can't do anything.
And I mean, you had this exact conversation with me.
Probably.
I know you did, because I mean, I was like 40 pounds, probably 30, 35, somewhere around there, over my regular weight. Like, now that I'm on the other side of perimenopause, symptom free, and releasing a lot of unnecessary things from my life,
Yes.
it's great to be back in this wonderful version of my
It's
my
to
body.
feel like yourself, and that is like the most, what I didn't expect, the most rewarding thing to have is that for a woman to come be like, I feel like myself again, or I didn't know I could feel like this again, and to not, like, you forget, and they'll forget because we just like go through your moms, you're working, you're doing this, and you just like go through, and slowly you're like, what is happening?
Oh my gosh.
So just to like get that like little vibrancy back, it's so rewarding.
It is so great. I was so happy. And I want to show women like this from my own experience working with you and another one of the speakers that will be there. It has been life-changing for me, and it's available for everyone, customized obviously individually to them. Okay, so in wrapping up, let's tell everybody where they can go find their tickets.
Yes.
So wisdomwealthwellbeing.com, on Eventbrite under the Thrive Women's Health Summit, and April 12th, 50th parallel.
Don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it. And we've got
the room is going to be amazing. Just the conversations that we're going to facilitate. Like, if I don't even get into slide 2 of my lecture, and it's just questions and facilitating and making this space so women can feel heard and understood and have this safe community, I'm so excited.
I love it. Oh, and there it is up on the screen. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and sharing. You're going to want to hear more about what Dr. Brittany Schamerhorn has to say on April 12th. We'll see you then.